Here's your heads up to what was going to be one podcast and now is probably going to be part 1 of part 2 or 3. All about choosing, having the choice, and not using those blooming excuses of why you didn't get what you wanted. And there's also the old how-tos as well at the end. Have fun. Have a listen after this big warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hello, it's Paul here from Personal Development Unplugged, and I was going to talk to you about something, not completely different, but initially it was all about choosing how you want to feel. And that is a really good subject. And I started off with that title in mind. But I think this might become a two-parter because I started to think, and as I developed some bullet points, as I do with my little mind maps in Jenny Journal, that it all started to go more about how you want, or are you choosing how you want to act, be, react. So I thought we'd go that way first, because sometimes we just, act and then regret what we do. And I think we can, certainly choose how to act or react. And also we can learn learn from the past, but also learn and get our unconscious mind to begin to build some really good habits. So we start to think of things unconsciously very quickly and act and react in a way that suits us. So before you even go there, though, you have to think or ask yourself the question. Let's ask ourselves this question. Do you believe you have a choice? How you behave? How you feel right now? Are you choosing to feel and act this way? You do believe that, don't you? You do. Because you see, if you don't believe that your actions, your behaviours are your decisions, then whose are they? Okay, they could be the choice of somebody else. Maybe it's the environment, things that are happening, things like stock exchanges, things are going down, the monetary system, all that stuff. Could be just circumstance. Oh, it wasn't me, it's the weather. Oh, it was something else. Oh, they did this. And I was going to do that, but then I had to do this because they made me, because they did this. Now, that's all very vague, isn't it, Paul? But the thing is, if you really believe that you don't choose to act, and in brackets feel, part 2, then how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to wait for other people, other things, other circumstances to force you to act in a different way? And to me, that's absolutely BS, because two people don't act in the same way to the same circumstances. Why do people with similar backgrounds come out of their life completely different? I mean, you hear of people having really hard times, and some go into the negative side, end up in prison and jail and all that stuff, and others turn to being the kindest, most open people in the world. Yet they both had similar backgrounds. So it doesn't mean that they must have a choice. They must have a choice. But the thing is, that choice is not conscious, because you don't in your reactions and actions. Very rarely, we're not going to be generalizing everything, but very rarely do you decide consciously how you're going to react. You might think about it consciously after you've reacted or acted, maybe from the feedback you're given, and then choose another way. But you are really living on the effect of your own choices at the unconscious level. And you see, I know some therapists like I do, to be all about choice, but not the way I like giving choice. It's like your choice is stop doing this and do this. So it's very authoritarian, which I don't like, but it's effectively this or that. And to me, that type of choice isn't a choice either. It's, you're in a bind. They call it a double bind, and you're stuck. You've either got to go this way, or in a double bind, you're going whatever way they choose you to go, because it's not this or that. It's this or this, but put in a wonderful linguistic way that you don't notice. And having the choice of two anyway, one or two, to me is no choice whatsoever. You should have as many choices as you can imagine. And that's what I really believe. And if you believe that, then all you have to do is decide what's the best option. And we'll go into options shortly, because I am an options fanatic, or I used to be. Certainly a lot bigger in options than I used in the past when I used to be in a different type of business. So, let's have a look at the decisions that some people make. Some people they act on something, and some people say, well, that's only just a reaction, because you're reacting to something. So whether it's act or react, I don't give a monkeys really, because it makes no difference. It's, did you feel you had a choice? And did you choose the right thing to do? So I think we've got over the bit about did you feel you had a choice? Because whether you feel it or not is, again, totally irrelevant, because you do have a choice. You can choose to do anything you bloody want. But if you don't, if you don't choose the right path, then you'll get a different result. And good decisions and bad decisions are simply just choices. They're just a choice that you made, a decision that you made. But it's the ending that they have that decides whether they were more positive or more negative to the result that you wanted. So, here's the thing. We've been prattling on about, about choosing and things like that. Because one of them, and in this little, I always do like a little meta thought about the whole of this podcast. And this one is in two parts. One is you decide how you act or feel. And the other one is to decide well, you have to take responsibility. And that's what we're talking about, taking responsibility. We've talked about cause and effect. If you want to live in the effect life, they did it to me. It's their fault. The financial situation wasn't good enough. Oh, there wasn't enough work around. There's this, there's that. Then you're living on the effect side. And, to me, and this is what we teach in our little branch of NLP, is they're just blooming excuses. They're reasons, excuses, and they don't count. They count when you go, I caused that to happen. I'm taking responsibility. Because even if you didn't really cause a whole lot of it, you chose to act and behave in a particular way. Therefore, take responsibility for it. So, how can we use all this stuff, Paul, you're prattling on about? Well, I'm going to tell you, because I don't like leaving anybody hanging around. I wanted to think about it first and then go, well, what could we do? What can we do? And more than that, how can we set this into a set of processes that our unconscious mind uses? So when we, if we accept that every choice we do is mainly an unconscious one, well, let's teach our unconscious mind to learn a better way of choosing. So maybe you want to get out your Jenny journal, because it's great to write these things down because you can think about them. But as you think of one, we're going to look at the different events. You think of one event and you can think about, various elements of that. And then you think of another event. Well, I can probably think of, what was I thinking about before? I don't know. It'll go, because that's what happens. It's like an overwhelm. There's a hypnotic induction that allows you to think of more things than you can think of, and you just close down. You just disappear into trance. So, Jenny journal out, pen and pencil at the ready, and I want you to think, maybe pick a previous time that you didn't get the result you wanted, on the decisions you made, the actions you took, what was it? Just in your mind's eye, make a little title for it so you'll always remember it. Then there'll be a long one. And just notice a few things about it. Just describe it a little bit. What was the outcome? Could there have been a better outcome? And then look at a different event where you seem to decide and react and act and get a good result. And just give that a name. So you can start to flick between one and the other. Because this is what we want to do. We want to see the difference between. So now when you go back to each one, let's look at what was the difference between the two. Let's feel the difference. Let's hear the difference. So, one of them, you could be time. Were you stopping to consider options? Or did you just go for it? Did you notice the intention, what you were looking for? Or did you just think you knew it and you went for it? What were the effects? Effects on you and the effects on other people in both of those decisions. How did they act and react? How did they choose to act? What was your body language like? Your physiology. I don't like the term body language, but your physiology. Were you relaxed? Were you breathing heavy? Were you breathing fast? What type of things were you picturing in your mind? So on the one that didn't get the good results, what type of pictures were you making? And the more detail you can go into this, the better, because then you can compare it. What pictures were you making in your mind when you got that good result? Because I think you'll find there'll be some stark differences, maybe just one or two, but they're going to be your drivers. When you think about them and you'll see pictures maybe, you'll see they're in a different location in your mind or even outside you. Most people get them outside. Maybe one's a still, maybe one's black and white, maybe one's a movie, a colour. There'll be differences. These are called the submodalities. So the modality of visual, and what are the submodalities? What are the finer distinctions that make up that modality? So look at time, look at physiology, maybe look at the way you felt, the state you had. Was it maybe confident, unconfident, overconfident? Was there a fear there, an anxiety? Well, there may be overwhelm, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you just thought you knew everything. Now, whether that's overconfidence, I don't know. But maybe you just had it, like that intuition. But if it was intuition, what was the difference between your intuition, get it right, Paul, your intuition on the event that had a good result, and the difference between that and the one that didn't get the good result? Because maybe you'll find that intuition sounded different. Maybe the voice sounded different. Maybe it felt differently. Maybe it came from a different place in your body. And it's noticing these things. Because obviously if we can notice the good things, or the components of the good reactions, decisions that you made, you can do a number of things. Because you see, this is just feedback at the moment. And when you look at this feedback, what you can do is noticing the differences one by one. Take that one event from the not so good decision and start to imagine it with one of those modalities, submodalities, those differences that you found from the good one. So maybe you were, say more curious in one. What would happen if you were more curious in that event that had the negative result? And just dream it out there. Notice what could happen. Maybe they were making pictures in your mind differently. Dream it out there. Maybe they're on the good result, you considered options and the mitigating factors that would allow those options to work. And then imagine doing it with the negative event. And just notice how each one changes. Because now 2 things are happening here. One is consciously you're noticing intellectually, this is what a good decision is made up of, and this is what a bad decision is made up of. You're also noticing how it could have been. And that's one of the important things, because now your unconscious mind is beginning to take on the strategy. Well, this is how it happened, but it could have happened like this. And the more you do it, the more your unconscious mind doesn't understand or doesn't realize what is reality, what is truth. If you do it really well, you'll tend to think at the unconscious level, well, maybe these are all different events I've actually done. So now I know how it could have gone, would have gone, and how it did go. But they all seem to be on the same level of past events. So now you've got something that your unconscious mind can use, and use that feedback for making decisions in the future. So just play around with this. Play around with like a mind map. And notice these differences, and keep playing with your imagination, visualizing it. And then what you could do is have another think. Well, it was a good decision. How could I have made it even better? Knowing what I know now, how could I have made it better? So that could mean making the result, the effect, come quicker, or bigger, or better, or having a better emotional feel to it. So not only are we just looking to make the negative decision better, but we're now looking to make the good decision even better. Because whatever you do, whatever you think, however you act or react, you can do more, just a little bit better. And so as you start playing with this, you are giving your unconscious mind, a massive amount of data to work with. And just keep doing it. Maybe look at another one, another event which was good, another event that didn't have quite what you wanted, and notice the similarities. And again, play with it. Notice how if you change the negative one with some of the good things, maybe from all the good ones now, those different things that you did in all the good decisions that you made, and notice how the other ones would have done, how much better they would have been. And you see, what you're doing now is you're beginning to find out your strategy, the strategy of good decision making. Now, you may also, if you're really into this and you have like an NLP background, because NLP was generally, as it's a good part of its background, in modelling. It all started from modelling some great therapists, and then went on to model other people to get strategies and strategies to help people. Well, these are strategies to help you, but maybe if you're an NLP person or just interested in strategies, you might want to start looking at other people. Maybe someone, if it's career based, someone in the same place of work that you're in. I'll get my words right. Ask them a question. How did you do that bit? What were you thinking? Don't pick a big piece though, because you'll be amazed how intricate some of these details are. But just ask. That I noticed you did that one thing, and I noticed it had a really good result. Maybe what were you considering? What type of time did you take to think about it? What type of pictures did you make in your mind? What was the voice in your mind? What were your emotional states or state? How did you behave? What was your plan? What was your intention? Because you see, one of the biggest ones is when the things that don't go quite the way we want, is that probably we didn't have the clearest intention in the world. And when you have a clear intention and it's positive, not I don't want this to happen, but I want this to happen. When you have that clear intention, that's the forerunner, I believe, in making good decisions, because those decisions are geared to a positive success, not going away from the negative, but going towards the positive. And you'll find if you ask people for advice, not help, by the way, if you ask people for help, they go, "Oh, I'm too busy." But if you ask for some advice, "I'm really interested in what you just did there. I wonder if you could, a little bit of advice, because I'd like to be able to do that. What were you thinking just before you did that? What was the voice you were using?" And they're going to initially go, "Do you know what? I just did it." And you go, No, I know you just did it. But if you were to know, just rewind that memory. What was the voice going in your head just before you did something? What were you feeling just before you did it? And then what was the next step? And you'll be amazed. You can elicit strategies from other people and then try them on yourself, because they may not all work for you, because we have different values, we have different experiences, we have different beliefs, we have those wonderful filtering systems. But by just putting them into your good decisions and seeing if you can make those good decisions even better with other people's way of doing it, you're going to come up with a strategy that is concise, not one of the strategies that goes forever, but the most concise strategy that will always get you a result. And that would be awesome. And then all you have to do is ask yourself the question, just before you do anything, what would it be like to be able to use this wonderful strategy I've discovered, I've put inside me to get the results? So you're setting the intention by asking also to use the strategy, the best, most appropriate strategy for this, and let it go. Because when you let it go, you'll find your unconscious mind does it. But the more you do this and the more you imagine it, imagining using those strategies, either the ones you've modeled, either the ones that you've done really well, the more you imagine them doing it in the old negative ways and the new ways and make them even better, your unconscious mind is practicing. And what does practice make? Permanent. So when you practice good things, you make good things permanent. And then all you have to do is ask the question, how can I, and you, my unconscious mind, make this even more better? And you see, now, coming full circle, and to my little meta description, you decide how you act and react. Well, now you are deciding, but you're also deciding to take responsibility for everything you do. And then the more you do this, what I'm going to suggest to you, the unconscious mind, is it will become more natural. So whilst you have to practice, then when the real event happens and you have to decide there and then, your unconscious mind will find the right process to use, the right strategy to use, and you'll get the best result. It's certainly going to be better than just leaving it to no choice, to other people, to other things, to other circumstances, to anything else that's not you. Because now we're going to make decisions on the inside, and then let those decisions on the inside affect those on the outside, not the other way around. Because when you let the outside make a decision for you, you are not in control, and your states and everything, it just, well, they go haywire. And what we don't want is haywire. So this is like part one, choosing how to act, to be, and using the skills you've already got. And I think part two will be choosing how you want to feel. Because when we put the two together, so now you've got a set of, you'll have a strategy of how you want to do something, but then you're going to put some really different emotions into it. Because when you do that, you'll be communicating with people in every type of modality you can think of, because they'll be seeing you, they'll be hearing you, they'll be getting feelings from you. They'll be even able to smell and taste what's happening, and they'll just get all your communication. And because you've taken a little bit of time, this isn't going to take ages and ages. This is a little bit like, just spend 10 minutes a day. Once you've done a little bit of the groundwork, 10 minutes a day just thinking and imagining new scenarios. You'll be amazed after a while, it will just come second nature to you. And then you start to make even better decisions on better decisions. And the life just gets better and better. Now, the thing about all of this is, I hope it's made sense, because I think it has. In my mind, it's made perfect sense. But I want it to make perfect sense in your mind. And I'd like you to just to give it a go. Just give it a go. And give it a go with the right intention. So set your intention. Set your state. The intention is, I want to learn how to do things better. And the state might be just curiosity. So when was I really curious? Or when did I have a state of success, of doing something well? And play. Because when you make it fun, you're in the right state anyway. Because at the moment, when you're going backwards and forwards, nothing is happening. Nothing bad is happening. Can't happen. Because you're in the moment and you're working with and on yourself. So what better time to make a change right now? So with that, and there's a so again, have more fun than you can stand. Enjoy every heartbeat. And I've got a few thoughts in mind for future episodes, which I'm going to be running past you. But until then, I want you just to enjoy this. And I want to get that music in a moment, because I want you to share this if you could. And I'd first of all like you to share with me some type of feedback. Simple email. It could just be in the subject line if you like. It could be hashtag whatever the episode number is, and enjoyed. Didn't like it. I might want a bit more information if you didn't like it, or you enjoyed it, because I'd like to know more about things. But it was fun. Got my result. Or if you'd like to explain a bit more and share a bit more, that would be brilliant. But it gives me an idea where I'm going, or if I'm explaining things properly. So if you could do that, that would be brilliant. But then also share it with everyone you know. Share this type of episode, or the ones you've enjoyed, or just this podcast in general. That would be paying it forward to me, and it would be, well, it'd be really awesome if you could do that. I'd get a real kick out of it. It makes this thing worth doing, knowing that you're enjoying it yourself and giving it to others, so we can make a difference in the world, because that's what it's all about, making the difference in other people's worlds, which makes a difference to my world. Because when all your worlds get better, my world has to improve. And it's a wonderful way of sharing into this integrated field of learning, isn't it? The other one is, please subscribe. As usual, subscribe to whatever platform you've got. And if you could, leave a little review. That's another way of sharing. Because when people get to see it, they go, oh, I'll have a listen to this. And maybe they'll then do the same. And we just build this community of, changing things for no other reason. Selfless service. That's all it's about, isn't it? So if we can all have this little bit of selfless service by sharing everything we've got, that would be awesome. And as usual, loads of hypnosis tracks. paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Sign up. Come on. Sign up and you'll get maybe a few free gifts, but you'll get access to the downloadable versions of all the hypnosis tracks that come with these podcasts. And have them. They're yours. And you'll run down, there's at least 30 plus. And there's going to be more each time. I've got a couple in mind already to add to that. So you can have what you like. If you run your eyes down, you go, oh, that'll be interesting. I might listen to that. Those type of things will make a difference to you. They really will. I just know they cannot not change you in a good way, because your unconscious mind and your conscious mind are choosing something to do. And in those 20 minutes, you're going to make a significant change. And that's going to be awesome too. And then I can have your feedback on that as well, please. I love feedback. So just keep popping those emails to me. That'd be awesome. Tell you the email now is paul@paulclough.co.uk. Okay? There may be another one under the Personal Development Unplugged.com website, but I haven't quite got round to that. I'm still building it, but it's looking good. Have a look at that one. That's awesome too. Anyway, lots of things. paulcloughonline.com. As I said, there's /podcast, which is the free hypnosis, but also there's one or two programs there which I think are really interesting and could make a real difference. I know they're paid, but hey, sometimes you have to do that to get value, real value. Anyway, that's it from me. Have, as I've said before, more fun than you can stand. I'm going to speak to you, well, in the next few days. Bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.